Hi, this is Amy Fox with the Food and Mood Lab, nutritionist, certified functional food professional, and endurance athlete. So I had a pretty incredible opportunity a few weeks ago to complete my second endurance challenge. It was called 29029, where we take over a ski mountain and you have 36 hours to climb up, gondola down, and repeat until you reach the height of Mount Everest, which is 29,029 feet. And I did this once before, and once again, it was challenging, but really rewarding. And as I've recovered and been thinking about some of the lessons from the mountain and from this experience, I had in my mind that I would share those maybe as a motivational post. And what's interesting as this week, I found myself in a phase, really in a season of just being in a rut, feeling negative, feeling flat, finding myself feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, situations that really peaked, a lot of stress. And so I found that I was actually drawing upon some of my experiences from 29029 and some of these insights. So I thought I would share it within the context of keeping it real. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I started Food and Mood and the Keep It Real with Amy talk, is to make sure there's this level of authenticity about the content and messages. And I also believe that women especially, we're not talking a lot about how we really feel, and it can oftentimes feel isolating and not feel good. So I thought I would just share what my experience has been recently and how I'm drawing upon some of my lessons, and leave you with some ways to really pivot from your situation. I think it's not uncommon, but we have these seasons where life just gets overwhelming, whether it's with kids, work, family, or all of it. And we have such high expectations of ourselves, let alone social media and comparing ourselves, that it can just feel negative. And so I thought I'd share these lessons with you and see if they resonate. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on how we can pivot. I also believe that we do have the ability to, in some cases, pivot and re-engineer how we feel. Not always, and in certain cases we can't, but I believe we have more control than we think. And so one of my takeaways and the things that really been floating in my mind is that everything is temporary. It's been so refreshing to think about that. When I was climbing, the first few ascents were absolutely horrible. The third one in particular, I got rained on, sleeted, and snowed. It was below freezing. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to be able to finish this. This is horrible. I actually broke. I cried, and I was reminded that, this isn't going to last. And all I needed to do was put one foot in front of the other. And I put my head down and I took one small step and then another. Everything is temporary. An ascent later, literally the rain stopped and the clouds broke, and it was a completely different feeling. And so I had a really stressful day this week with with one of my children, and it was hard and a little bit heartbreaking. And so I had some comfort in just knowing that I'm just gonna try to do my best and put one foot in front of the other. And again, everything is temporary. The other insight I had is that, we can rewrite the story. I do believe that we are the stories that we think. The stories we're thinking become what we are, what we think we are. But we can rewrite that. And we have the power and the control to think differently. When I was climbing, I had an opportunity to climb with somebody, and we were at one of the aid stations. And in my mind, this aid station meant we were almost there. It was gonna be a piece of cake. And she shared with me, oh man, thank God we're climbing together because this is the hardest part of the hike. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I didn't think it was hard. And wouldn't you know it, the next several climbs, it was miserable. Like that part of the climb felt horrible. And so I made it my mission to get down that gondola and figure out what routines, what food, what can I change? What do I have control over so that I can start thinking and then feeling a different way? And so I'm reminded that we have the opportunity, we have the control to rewrite the story. And so some of the ways to do that are some thoughts that I've been using this week in particular to really re-engineer my thinking and my thoughts and how I feel has really come down to three things: nutrition, activity, and mindset. And of course I have to start with nutrition. With nutrition, again, like these are seasons and no one is ever going to be perfect. But for me, I just had to keep it in check and make sure that I'm not eating highly processed foods, a lot of sugar, and just make sure I was reeling it in and kind of dialing up that part of my nutrition. And also part of that, I had to make sure that I took a break from wine and alcohol. I love the occasional glass of wine, but even just a little bit impacts my sleep and triggers my anxiety. So removing it completely, at least for a little while, just helps me to feel in control, but I start to physically feel better, which then starts to make me feel better overall with my mental health and well-being. So I start with nutrition because that's an easy thing to control. In terms of activity, at a minimum, I walk. I just posted a number of research articles about the benefits of walking even a little bit on reducing the chances of dementia and the impact on depression and anxiety. It's unbelievable. And just getting a different perspective and getting outside, getting with nature. So set a timer for 5 minutes, even if it's just to the mailbox and then some. And then finally, mindset. Again, I'm looking here to engineer. And so my go-to strategy when I just hit these phases is to identify like 3 promises I'm going to make on a daily basis, mostly around the mindset, activity, and nutrition. And I make sure that they're small, tiny goals that I can accomplish. The whole idea is that I accomplish them so I can check the boxes and essentially keep promises to myself. When you keep promises to yourself, you build your confidence, and I want to try to get a streak of a couple days, which then creates momentum. So I hope these ideas may help you to help change the story, maybe help to pivot from a situation. Would love to curate additional ideas. So share with me what's working or other thoughts and ideas you have. Thanks, and let's keep this conversation going.